Hi, Ink Teacher here with another tutorial on how to draw the human figure. And today I want to talk about one of my favorite ways of pulling a drawn figure from a sense of very flat 2D into a sense of 3D. And that is through changing the position of the chest barrel and hips in relation to each other. So if I'm going to start a figure, usually what I'll do, in my mind I kind of see the figure, so I like to do one line that I think would express the overall direction and position of a figure. If I were to draw a figure just standing there, I would just start out with a line like that. That would, for me, that would be, if I stopped right there, that would be the first draft representing the figure. So the figure I want to draw here, I'm going to draw a line like this. Think of it as like the first kind of structure that you can start to hang things on and build onto from there. So my figure, I'm already pretty sure the head's here and at least one of the feet is back here, and this gives me an idea that I can go ahead and divide the body half here. From there, that's where the legs join. I can go ahead and kind of work out where the other leg's going to go. Tentatively, I would like to most figure out where the feet are going to go, because this figure is going to be running on the ground, meaning at least one foot is, the position of this foot needs to stay there more than any other body parts. The rest of the body can be changed as I go along, but the one that won't be able to change as much as I go along are the feet. I think mostly this foot, because the other foot hasn't landed on the ground yet. So that's something to keep in mind. And so we kind of work out, here is the chest barrel up here, and the figure's back here. Kind of rough out where the arms are going to go. And so now we have a good idea where the hips and chest barrel are going to go. And if you notice, it's still very flat. It's as if we have taken the figure and smashed it against the paper. It isn't in a perspective 3D space. So, and also some of the, right now this doesn't have any directional lines to it, but if I kind of think of this as more of a complex shape than like an egg shape. And also, one thing is that whenever I'm drawing circles, most of the time in my mind I'm seeing that as a sphere, and that distinction will really show its effectiveness as I continue on. But when I'm drawing this, I'm not thinking of it as a oval. I'm thinking of it as an egg shape. But I'm going to go ahead and block it off a little bit. And so right now we're looking very much at the side of the chest barrel. We're not seeing any of the front of it. We're not seeing any of the back of it. And it's very much the same with the hip area too. And it's so 2D right now that there's no sense of the front, back, or anything like that. That rarely ever happens in the real world. For these to work together in perfect alignment, the only instance I can think of that being common is if you're watching people doing yoga, where their alignment is very important. But a great way to make a character more dynamic and natural is to start changing the position of these two, especially before you. I hope my tutorials are useful to you. I post them to get the word out about a story I'm working on,
at solomation.com. I post free episodes of my illustrated story, so if you have a few minutes, please check it out. Thank you.
Go ahead and decide more strongly exactly where the other body parts are going to go. So here, let's go ahead and take it into 3D space. So far, this character is going that way, but what if we veer the character that way? So we want to go ahead and take the chest barrel and move it. So we're going to move it. So I'm seeing more of the top, you know, where the neck connects. And so here's the side here, and we're gonna still just get a glimpse more of kind of like where the collarbone is at, this sort of, you know, top front area here. So what we're doing is we're bending it off the page. And for now, well, let's see here. Yeah, for this position, I'm gonna leave this one here. So now it's starting to get into 3D space. And so before, we were looking so much on the side that the shoulders, if we could see through this person, if they were semi-transparent, one shoulder would be on top of the other one, you know, because one shoulder would be directly behind the other one from our viewpoint. But because we've changed it, one shoulder is going to kind of move on this arc down here, whereas the other shoulder will move back and forth on the arc here. And before, the neck joined the chest up here, but now the neck is going to be joining the chest down here. The nice thing I like about manipulating these two body parts, the chest barrel and the hips, is I have found it to be a very powerful technique for really making the character seem to come off the page. And also it can be very subtle too. You don't need to tweak them a lot. If you tweak them just a little bit, it multiplies the sense of movement in the figure in a very easy fashion. So from here, I mean, you know, so many times when I see people draw figures, they look totally stagnant, and this is my #1 technique for moving past that. And if we were to totally, you know, just draw the rest of the figure without thinking about how to pull it into the 3D space, it still is pretty much ensured to be a figure that will look like it's in the 3D space, because we have tweaked these two central body parts, and everything else is just gonna pop a lot more. So that's what I guess I'll be finishing up this tutorial. Please, if you have the chance, could you visit my animation work at solomation.com, and happy drawing.